Charlotte Flair has shot on fan criticism, and I'm absolutely love what she had to say. In this video, I'm going to tell you what she had to say. Why it may upset some of y'all, but I think it's the right mindset, and I think it's a rude awakening for a lot of people because Charlotte Flair, well, she thinks that fans, they're going to get tired of her real soon following her return at the Royal Rumble. Now, look, the 14-time Women's World Champion, she made her long-awaited return this past weekend when she entered the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble match, outlasting 29 other stars, last eliminating NXT's Roxanne Perez to score the victory and become the first woman to win the Royal Rumble twice. Charlotte Flair had been sidelined since December of 2023, suffering a torn ACL, MCL, and a meniscus in a match with Asuka on Friday Night SmackDown. She was going to be out for a long period of time, and that's exactly what they did with her, because that's a brutal slate of injuries that you have to overcome, and you have to rehab, and you have to get better from. And that's exactly what Charlotte Flair did. Now, to her credit, and I think this also tied in with the fact that she deeply missed this. She's also a babyface at the time, and more importantly, she was just a human being, and she still is a human being, obviously, but the fact of the matter is she continuously updated fans on social media, whether it was Instagram or Twitter or whatever social platform in which you were using and you saw her content. She was showing her rehab footage. She was showing her working out, getting stronger, lifting weights. She showed that she was in the ring and mixing it up with trainers and wrestlers alike. Charlotte Flair kept you in the loop the entire time. And so fast forward, late 2024, early January, WWE, they started to air hype video packages. Charlotte Flair is returning. Charlotte Flair is coming back soon. We saw her in her high profile style. We saw her jet flying and yacht riding and limousine chauffeurs and all this other stuff, right? We saw that. And then there was reports of, okay, Charlotte Flair's coming back. And then boom, it was reported, it was revealed, it was announced, if you will, that Charlotte Flair would be back at the Royal Rumble, something in which a lot of people anticipated doing so. It made sense, right? Why not save her big return for that moment? And so heading into that show, there was a report by WrestleVotes, and it was talking about how, hey, Charlotte Flair, she's going to be getting championship gold sooner rather than later. She's going to embrace the Flair legacy. She's going to embrace the top girl mentality, the gimmick, if you will. Literally an hour before the Royal Rumble, PW Insider came out with the reports talking about how not only was Charlotte Flair heavily factored into the Women's Royal Rumble match, but she was slated to get a massive push. Direct quote, by the way, coming out of the Royal Rumble. And as soon as I saw that report, I'm like, oh, Charlotte Flair's going to win. Like, she was a minus 200 favorite going into it. That pretty much sealed the deal that she was going to win this match. Now, that leads us to today's video, because while speaking at the Royal Rumble post-show press conference, Flair talked about returning from injury, winning the Royal Rumble. She said that the injury was the hardest thing that she's ever faced, and coming back was a real struggle for her, and that she is now going to be going after some gold, and that's something that fans will get tired of. This is what she had to say. I think the hardest part is that I've always relied on my athleticism to carry me. I've been an athlete my entire life and never been injured. I know I hear you guys, oh, she's been a hit or miss for 2 years. I've been on the road since 2012. I've been a champion every single year for 9 years. I took 1 year off. Give me a break. You'll get tired of me because I'm coming for all the gold. For me, it was like, what if I can't come back as Charlotte as everyone expects? That was hard on me. The rehab and getting back in the ring wasn't the issue. It's the second guessing myself. And now I'm scared to be injured because I've never been injured before. That was a hurdle I had to overcome because I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. She continued, the night I got hurt with Asuka, there was 8,000 soldiers in attendance. When I dinged my knee, I thought, well, I can't stop the match. These people give their lives for me. I have to give them a show. And then I fell on the top rope on my neck. We came back from break, and I was like, what's going on? I cannot give up on these fans, and living with that for a year, wondering, is this going to happen to me again? That was really hard. But hearing my music tonight and seeing the signs, I needed to get the first match under my belt. Here's the thing. I'm going to work smarter, not harder, Charlotte Flair added. A lot to break down there. Now, I want to preference this. She was on Monday Night Raw. She did a promo segment with Rhea Ripley. She talked about how, hey, she could go after Rhea Ripley, or she could go to NXT, which she did, and is going to have a showdown with NXT Women's Champ Julia, and then go to Friday Night SmackDown and have a little chit chat with Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. So and look, the speculation, the belief, me included, I think she's going to go to SmackDown. I think she's going to challenge Tiffany Stratton for the women's title. It's a dream match. They talked about it before, wanting to do it, yada, yada, yada. I think it's going to happen. Now, let's break down some of this that she had to say. I commend her. I praise her. I give her all the credit in the world for being as open and as honest as she was in this interview, or in this statement, I guess. Talking about the mental challenges. Everyone, I don't think they look at talent, and I get it. That's supposed to be the way that it is. You're not supposed to look at as a wrestler as just like you and I. They're a superhero. They're bigger than life. They're bigger than us, right? They're better than us type thing. But at the end of the day, they're not, right? So you have to keep that in mind. But her admitting that she had some real mental challenges, never being hurt, never being home, always on the road, always going A to B to C, I think people take that for granted of like how ridiculous that this, and granted the travel schedule has gotten better in recent years, but like back in the day, it wasn't like in the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s or anything where they were working like 5 days a week. And there's a travel day as a sixth. And then obviously it got better within the 2000s and then the 2010s, but like, this is still a brutal freaking schedule. And so if you're just used to being on the road all the time, and you have no kids, obviously she's been recently divorced from Andrade, but you don't really have a home life. And so if you don't really have a home life and you're used to being on the road all the time, that's a real mental challenge as well. And oh, by the way, you're hurt. And oh, by the way, you got to go do this rehab that's painful and it's annoying and it's aggravating and it's frustrating. You have all these mixed emotions and you're missing out on such a awesome time in pro wrestling. Like, I hope people do not take this time of pro wrestling and WWE in general as like, don't take it for granted. It's been a truly remarkable turnaround and a renaissance in the last 2 years. I mean, this company was god-awful just a few years ago. And it took Triple H about a year to get his fingerprints all over this product. But ever since he has, I mean, it's taken off. So the fact that she had to miss that, and now that she's back and she's in it, yeah, I can see how, that impacted her mentally. And the fact that she got injured with a bunch of U.S. soldiers in there, I think that's commendable. I think that's very respectable that she tried to go in there and do it. And then her talking about how she was scared to get injured again because she's never been injured before. Like, that's a real reality. And the fact that she had to wait over a year to have another match and get that psyche change, like, pretty remarkable.